And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Owlet Season 3.9 playoffs. We've got some amazing games ready and waiting for you. If you don't know, there are two playoff games going simultaneous with this one. There are two going simultaneously with this one. We have the one here. We have one on the main Owlet channel. And there's a lot going on today, but the one we're doing right now is the Storybook Villains. This is BBQ Dad and the Disappointments. Now, BBQ Dad and the Disappointments may have had forgive my pun here, but a pretty disappointing regular season. We're looking to see if now is their time, if they can start to make a run in the playoffs in our double elimination bracket. I am K-Wing, and I'm here with Jumpy. Jumpy, do you think BBQ Dad and the Disappointments, do you think that those disappointments can finally they can make their BBQ Dad proud? Do you think they can do it?
Well, it's going to be up to the individual players today and how they can pull it off as a team. I've heard that they do have a secret strategy going on, and I've been told that it's going to be very, very hot, so I'm looking forward to see that. On the other side, it is a little bit of a challenge going into this game. Storybook Villains have come off really strong so far, and they're definitely going to put up a very strong fight.
Absolutely. You say that they're coming out with a hot strategy. Would you say it was almost like fired? Like it was sort of like put on something really hot, like sort of like grilled up? Would you say it was grilled?
I know that it's spicy. I'm not allowed to say any more than that, unfortunately.
Oh, you're not allowed to say?
I may have a little bit of
himself.
I may have a little bit of insider knowledge.
Well, we'll see what they've got as both the teams are ready, and we are ready here. So I'm excited to get in.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see what kind of meta both the teams are going to run. I know we're seeing a lot of brawl and double bubble at the highest level of play right now, but looking at the team's signature heroes, I'm not sure what they're going to run here. I know Storybook Villain look like they have the kind of composition that they can run either dive or a standard brawl, but I'm curious to see what they're going to pull out today.
Absolutely. We're going to get into our first map, which is going to be Lijiang Tower, and we're here at Night Market. I believe this is Night Market. Yes, it is. And so getting into this, Jumpy, what do you think is going to be optimal meta as we get in here, as we see what the heroes selections are? It looks like Arisa Reinhardt on the side of BBQ and the Disappointments.
Okay. I like the Arisa Reinhardt strat going into this point. It's very enclosed, and you're just going to have all that damage coming out from Reinhardt and Arisa. On the other side, you have, looks like a kind of a speed comp with Zarya Rein. They're going to be looking to charge up that Zarya and get some strong engage. We're going to have to see who can sustain on point and who can get the picks going into this fight.
Absolutely, as we see the rollout coming in. The teleporter is going to come out from Audacity. There's a huge anti-nade that comes out from Echo Force, getting two members of BBQ Dad, and now Hyper Knight, another clutch anti-nade. That's three in it, and there you go. But somehow McNewbie, Audacity, both finding some picks. Kirby's gonna find fight, but it will be too little, too late as the objective unlocks. And BBQ Dad, we thought this might be a blowout, but it might not be horrible.
That was a very clean engage by BBQ Dads. I'm really impressed. They got onto point quickly, and they just had the team presence to blow them up.
Absolutely. This shatter comes in already. Cobalt. How did that even happen? Going to get Clutch Caliber already off of the side of that shatter. Here comes the barrier from Audacity, trying to just keep the members of BBQ Dad safe, but here comes Cobalt with the nano onto the Reinhardt, and he's just going to slam in, and a quick retake for Storybook Villain.
Yeah, that was a big shatter coming in. You get a pick on one of their tanks, and it's kind of easy to just barrel through. You have the health pool to sustain, and you can just walk up on point, and that's what SPV did in that fight.
Absolutely, McNewbie has this high noon, so up on that high ground could be a good position. They're taking a flank. Here it comes, the high noon. That it is, and they're going to use that to get the engage off of. No one's going to be caught in it, but Clutch Caliber will find Cobalt with the Fire Strike, but McNewbie's going to be caught out by Kirby Bro in the back. He's going to use that Seismic Slam. Here it comes, not going to find anything, but still, pretty even fight. Clutch Caliber going to get hit with the Antinade and bursted down by Brutal Alone. And now you see that Reaper buff. Echo Force somehow gets hit off the side by the Reinhardt. The Death Blossom going to come in from Brutal Alone. Going to get nothing but the Immortality Field. Cobalt will fall from McNewbie, and there is a brawl on the point. Hyper Knight going to take down Brutal Alone, and it looks like just barely BBQ Dad will take the point back. Flip-flopping around.
Well, that was quite a good fight for SBV. They managed to hold on to point for a long time there. Their ult economy is maybe struggling a little bit, but they should be able to come back with some ults in this fight.
Definitely a lot of ults to watch. You have that Diva Bomb, you have the beat drop, then to use that for an engage, and use both good engagement ultimates, the Diva Bomb and the beat drop. We'll see what they do. Here comes Clutch Caliber's Shatter. Here comes the beat drop. Here comes Daika past Diva Bomb. It's only going to find the Immortality Field, but still, Kirby Bro is going to find a double kill to start off the retake, and it'll be a quick one. There you go. Brutal Alone will find a double kill of their own, and that's another retake for Storybook Villains.
So it's probably coming up on last here for BBQ. They really have to win this next fight. They have a window to do it, and maybe a beat and Bongo in the last fight. I'd like to see the window coming out with a pull to get some big damage.
Absolutely, the combination of ults and abilities is so important when you're playing Overwatch in a team setting, and oh, there you go. You get the nano on the Reinhardt, and you just have all the members of BBQ Dad falling. It's a team kill, and no one's going to be able to touch the point, as that is round one for Storybook Villains. But I think crucially is that it was not as much. It's not as much a blowout so far as we would have thought.
I really liked that anti-nade on last by Echo. That was a big nade, and it really allowed them to snowball that fight with their Lucio speed engage.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. This is quite a close game, and it can go either way at this point. I just would like to see a little bit more maybe target focus and utilization of that Lucio speed to group together and attack a target from BBQ.
Absolutely, Lucio is really only effective when he's used in conjunction with the rest of his team. He's got that aura of healing, but it's really only effective when you're with all your enemy team. If you're only healing one or two people, it's not going to work as we get into this fight here in the enclosed server room. Cobalt going very low, going to have to use the charge to get out. He's actually going to find Clutch Caliber. Chino will fall as well, and Storybook Villains are taking a good lead already, as Cobalt is just being allowed free reign and just being allowed to get as aggressive as he wants. But is it too much? I would say no, as the point hasn't even been captured, and Storybook Villains haven't even touched the checkpoint, and they're trying to go to the finish line. Eventually they will send someone back as the engage is coming out again here. Not even much
you got to cap eventually, you know. It's going to be a long game if nobody wants to touch that point. So it looks like they're going to see a roll to server room. I'd like to see what's going on there.
Absolutely, this roll to server room, trying to take a fight in a fairly similar way, switching to that Junkrat to try and spam down these chokes. And there you go. It doesn't look like it's going to work out, as Kirby Bro is going to land some kick plays on the Doom Fist for a quick fight win for Storybook Villains.
They're getting the early picks, SBV, and they're snowballing the fights. It's hard to come back from those fights when you're down early.
Absolutely, the rollout coming in. McNewbie, oh, here comes the Shatter. It's going to get, it's huge from Clutch Caliber, blocking the Shatter of Cobalt. but here comes the back cap. Who is there? It looks like Hyper Knight on the Wrecking Ball went behind the point and captured it out, and a little bit too much aggression coming out from Storybook Villains.
I mean, the question is, who are they going to send back here to contest the point again? Looks
They're
like
at spawn. They're just playing this at spawn. They're playing this so aggressively, and they haven't even recaptured the point. Storybook Villains needs to go back to the point, and they eventually will. But that was an interesting play.
that's one way to get 30%, right? If you can do it, you can do it. So it looks like BBQ's got another winner to come in. If we see some big damage to that, you could see an early pick. But there is beat on the other side to counter that.
Absolutely. The beat is very good at denying enemy ultimates. You have a bunch of different ultimates that it can deny. You can try to use it on the window. You can try and use it on the high noon. There's just so much it can do. And look at that. Cobalt and Kirby Bro going to both land some kills. The Shatter will find a few more. And there you go. And it's getting into last fight territory for BBQ Dad and the disappointment.
I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the way the ball's being utilized here. It's hard to see a lot of value getting in that last fight. But again, it's a touch is going to be necessary from that ball.
Absolutely, it does come in. And now the question is, will the members of Storybook Villains come in? They won't. They're going to get the back cap again. BBQ Dad, they need to stop playing this aggressively if they're not going to come back to point. That's the point of this.
Impressive Widowmaker switch from McNewbie. He got a lot of picks there and allowed them to not only back cap, but take complete control of this point and establish some positioning here. We're probably going to see another Nano Ryan and a beat to counter that speed engaged from SBV.
Absolutely, Cobalt trying to walk in. He's got the nano, he's got the beat, he's got all the support, and he is going to use it to swing his hammer like it was his birthright. The Shadow will come in, won't find anyone, but everyone's going to be falling soon anyway. The minefield going to come in from Hyper Knight, going to try and deny some space. Here comes the Death Blossom. Audacity will find Echo Force. That's huge. The Ana is such a source of healing in this rush comp, but the Wisp will find Clutch Caliber on the Diva, and it's a close fight on this point. Very possible, but Kirby will find Shine Out, and that might just be it as overtime starting to take away Route 1. Not going to let McDoobie touch, and there you have it. Map 1 going to Storybook Villains.
That was closer than we expected, but it did turn out that SBV did kind of take a little bit more liberties in that second point. It seemed like BBQ was struggling a little bit on their engages and dealing with early picks against them.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of that sort of there was definitely a lot of mistakes, I would think, on both sides. I mean, we saw sort of the obvious mistakes coming out from BBQ Dad, but I think Storybook Villains, they're looking very they're looking beatable, I would say, for BBQ Dad and the disappointments. Definitely their overexcitedness might be their downfall. It might be a sign of pride or their sort of hubris coming into this, knowing that they're the second seed.
You can definitely see a little bit of the cockiness on the side of SBV in not capturing point, maybe some tactical crouching, a little bit of that. But it isn't that far away, and I think they're going to have to look out for some interesting strategies from BBQ. I've heard that they're memers. I've not been able to see it myself, but I'm curious what they're going to pull out of their hat for this next map on... Actually, I don't know a map yet.
I actually know the map right yet, but it's gonna be very interesting. So I am interested to see what they're going to come up with. BBQ. They could try and go for maybe a legitimate strategy, or like you said, they are memers, so they might just try for a meme approach. So maybe if you put in the chat what map you want to see, maybe a member of BBQ will maybe they'll just decide to do it if you want to.
It looks like we're getting Rialto.
We will get to see Rialto and McNewbie to support.
Got some switches coming out.
That's not on the sheet.
He is a mean Anna. So we'll see.
That would make sense.
He also, I heard that he won the Widowmaker competition. Was it? Did anybody else see that? Was that close? Do you know?
I did cast that, but I do believe he did. It was. I don't remember actually. It was a few, like a week ago or so, but.
Oh wow!
He did win that.
Pretty convincing. 9-5. Okay. So Rialto's kind of an interesting map. There's lots of high ground to control, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some more vertically mobile heroes in this next one. Maybe some double bubble, monkey, or ball being main tanks with like a Sigma off tank. Something like that might be interesting. We'll kind of have to see. There are lots of long sight lines, so snipers are strong here as well. I know Brutal has a pretty strong hit scan game, so I wouldn't be surprised to see any of that. Or another Reaper again.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot that could come out of this, and I'm pretty ready to get in here. So as we get into Rialto, so now BBQ will be on the attack first. So they will set the precedent, really, of how far Storybook Villains needs to go when they attack, when the rounds swap. So they put themselves in a pretty interesting position where they're going to set the tone for this map. And in my opinion, if they want to turn this around, they're going to want to set a good attack. They want to get to the end.
Got to.
And they
otherwise
want to set a good precedent.
You have to set a good attack, otherwise you can just see cheese strats from the defense if they know that they don't have to hold so far back. And it looks like we have a pause here.
And I think we had some. We did have a disconnection from Hypernite, but I think it was quickly fixed. I'm not sure if we are ready to get back in, but I mean, like we said, I do think that if BBQ Dad doesn't want to fall into a bit of a kind of fall into that sort of they don't want to fall into the mindset of that their loss is inevitable, because I don't think it is. I think that Storybook Villains has been overconfident so far. So I think that if BBQ Dad can take advantage of that, I think that they could have a good chance of at least taking a map, if not making this very competitive.
For sure, yeah. If you can catch them flat-footed, you're well on your way to a victory here. You have to want it. You have to be willing to fight for it. And if we see that from BBQ, I'm sure this is going to be a very close game.
Absolutely, and we're rolling out here. We do see Brutal One on the Hanzo and Kirby Bro on the Genji. We're on the Shimada Brothers DPS comp for the Storybook Villains. What do you think about that?
It's got a lot of alt combos here. We can see, like, you get a strong Nano Blade. Obviously, everybody knows that can clean up. But I also like to see the Lucio with that Nano Blade. It just gives Genji the speed for if he misses that dash to be able to get in anyways. Tracer McCree on the other side, it looks like it's going to be a brawl with some pressure on SBV's supports. So we're going to have to see how they approach this attack.
Absolutely. Right out of the gate, Cobalt gets a pretty big Fire Strike, going to throw another out. And they're holding pretty passive so far, going to rush in at this corner. Interesting. Brutal One's already going to find a pick on to fight onto that Baptiste, that main source of healing for the members of BBQ Dad, and that's not how you want to start this off. They're not going to retreat, though. They're going to try and hold their ground, although there is a bit of a pullback, and the cart will actually keep moving. I'm surprised from Storybook Villains that they didn't try and collapse on the members of BBQ Dad, and they instead decided to a little bit allow them to push forward, but now they're going to jump in on them again. Here they come. Already Dykopath going to get demeched, and Kirby Bro going to find himself in Audacity's crosshairs. Cobalt to take down Audacity, Cobalt to take down Exelia as well, and Hyper Knight will fall with the Nano Ryan and the Shatter, and that's all she wrote.
Hard to come back from a 5-man Shatter is kind of what it comes down to. But it looks like Ryan might be caught out of position here. Taking speed.
Absolutely. Oh, the Shatter is going to come in. The Dragon Strike will try and catch out. Graviton Surge from Clutch Caliber, maybe a little bit too late. Brutal One going to take down Hyper Knight to end that off.
That's so unfortunate. When you see momentum like that and you can't... Oh, I take it back. It looks like they're coming back with some pressure on card. Audacity popping off.
Exelia also finding the pick onto Echo Force, and that's Silesia finding the pick onto Echo Force, and now here comes a High Noon from Audacity. Not going to find anything, but still just that zoning ultimate there. Cobalt maybe getting caught out a little bit here with this in this Ryan 1v1, and this has been really interesting because I think that there goes the Dragon Strike as well, coming out. The Nano coming on to the Kirby Bro. Dragon Blade coming out. We'll see if it can get anything. It'll find Audacity. Crucial dash reset for Kirby Bro. And going to find a second onto Hyper Knight. And the defense will stabilize.
That's a really impressive look at SBV's control there. They knew they had the blade coming, they sat back, they let them push the cart, they regroup, and they come back with that big up combo and just clean up the fight, take back the cart.
Absolutely. Now this card is so far away from the attacker spawn, from Barbecued at spawn, that they're going to have a tough time getting it, and losing McNewbie early on is not going to be something they want. Dykopath gonna throw out the bomb. It'll find Hyper Knight. The Dragon Strike will also get thrown out, and there's 60 seconds remaining. Clutch Caliber needs to get out of there before they get picked.
I'm seeing a little bit of staggering for Barbecue. Clutch Caliber kind of getting caught out late in the fight and sustaining when he doesn't want to. We're looking at Ryan Shadows on both sides, so it's gonna come back to that Ryan 1v1. Whoever hits it, that's a big advantage.
Absolutely, and Exelia is going to get that hit. Audacity will find one, so will Cobalt. Now here comes the Nano onto Cobalt. Hyper Knight will fall immediately, and Cobalt is going to get all the picks, and the cart is safe with Echo Force as they're just going to push in further and further. Audacity is going to be even used to pop the High Noon just to get them away as we get into left side territory here.
Sorry, Barbecue has a touch here, but they really have to get to cart. Not a lot of ults on either side. Maybe a dragon and a window, but they have to be on cart here.
Absolutely. Hyper Knight does get the touch, but Audacity will immediately fall. Here comes the Shatter, and here comes the Blade. They're just going to pop it out. Cyzelia will fall. And there you go. That's just going to be it. It looks like Audacity is going to try for a little bit, but it will not be enough. And not even first point, a full hold for Storybook villains.
That was a good show from SBV. They came back a lot from being down in picks. They didn't allow Barbecue to because Barbecue often got those first early picks, but they weren't able to capitalize on it. They didn't stabilize, they didn't push forward. It was kind of just pick for pick, trade for trade. And they really just often struggled with trading out in those extended fights, and the trades generally not going in their favor. So we're gonna have to see. It's a tough hold. I'd be interested to see if there's any kind of cheesy strats, close holds, because they really do want to get more than one fight with the cart so close, and it's not going to be possible unless they hold right up off the bat. And it does look like we're going to see a Bastion, but that's on the side of SBV, so we'll have to see.
That's definitely an interesting strategy. Audacity fighting Scooby, going to jump off the side. That is also a thing that's happening. We do have the Torbjorn coming out. We do have the Torbjorn coming out from Xylizia, and an interesting composition. Audacity does have that burst potential. We have 2 Torbjorns coming out.
That is very true. That is very true.
I don't know.
Did somebody fall off and somebody else wanted to go for a swim? What happened there?
The members of Storybook villains going for a little dip in the waters of Rialto. Always good to calm the nerves. And Simon's going to get the early pick on a Kirby Bro before, it's always good, to get a nice cooldown. And what better way to cool down than to have a nice little dip into the waters of Rialto as the cart's going to round the corner. And members of BBQ Dad jumping around, going to jump down onto the point with the flank and Arisa, and it might actually be working as Cobalt's going to fall to McNewbie. And please don't ask a hammer 1v1. This isn't Australian Contenders.
So there was a big flank with the Bastion there, but no value was actually gotten by that flank. If SBV could meme around, they could lose this map, no problem.
Absolutely, and just looking into this, just going in here, you have Brutal 123 on the Bastion, just able to fire down and just completely shut down these sight lines. McDoobie's going to get caught out, but here comes the Dragon Strike, and it'll get a lot of people inside it. Dichopath and Brutal 123 both going to fall, and there you go with a triple kill from Audacity. That's exactly what we wanted to see.
That's a fantastic play. They put the Dragon in that nice tight alley. The Bastion couldn't back up, and Clutch just saw that opportunity and went in swinging. It's just good Reinhardt play. It looks like we're going to see a flank shatter possibly from Clutch again on the high ground.
Absolutely dropping in from behind and just getting everyone in the shatter. Somehow, we're seeing a different BBQ Dad in the disappointments as they're holding pretty strong. And they're even going to stagger out Kirby Road just for that.
This is an interesting strategy by SBV. I'm not sure if it's going to work out long term, but they seem to be committed until I said that. They're off the Bastion and going to Hanzo. The caster's curse.
They sure do seem committed, except as soon as you say that. Kirby Bro will find Xylazia, and Brutal 123 will also find McNewbie, and that's not good. Cobalt will actually fall. Xylazia's turret will get a double kill while Xylazia is dead, and that's just the old 2017 Torbjorn play.
That's the classic dead play of the game. The clock's running out. Both teams are looking to regroup a little bit here.
Oh, here comes the Graviton, though. Here comes the Molten Core. Here comes everything. Everyone's just throwing in everything. Everyone with a Q button to press is pressing it. And somehow, BBQ Dad coming out on top with ults to spare.
With ults to spare. They still got 20 seconds. They can get a touch here, but it actually might be an advantage of... No, sorry. It still is BBQ. They still got lots of ults here.
Absolutely, but the Shatter's gonna come in from Clutch Caliber. He's gonna find some picks. Here comes the Transcendence from Fight. Kirby Bro has the blade. Not gonna be able to use it though. And now it's BBQ Dad.
That's what happens. To be frank, this is Overwatch. This isn't Counter-Strike. This isn't CS:GO. When you give up those early fights and you don't force ultimates on attack and you just let the defenders build up, play safe, as long as the defenders are smart with their ultimates, you can just control the whole tempo of the game. You can force ultimates with yours, and you just have that advantage going from fight to fight to fight. So sometimes if you meme around, goof around, sometimes you get punished for it, and that's what I think saw here today.
Absolutely. I mean, you said that BBQ Dad and the disappointments were a bit of memers, but sometimes you gotta be very careful with your memes. and if you're not careful enough with your memes, you might get burned.
Maybe leave it to the
So
experienced memers from Barbecue Chicken.
absolutely
And
do not. This is these are professional memers on a closed course. Do not try this at home.
do not try this at home. We need a Mythbusters warning sign in this.
Yeah, welcome to Meme Busters. As we
So we're gonna see a 2CP, is that correct? For the next map? Hybrid? Okay. So we'll have to see what the map pick is. It looks like Hollywood's gonna be coming out, and that's another map where you're gonna see those hard first point attacks, even more so than the Rialto. So it's kind of a map that does separate the wheat from the chaff, right? It's hard to get onto that first point, and once you get through, it can be smooth sailing. And again, at that third point, it's very hard to cap. So it's going to be interesting to see what strategies both of these teams pull out. It seems very brawly and chaotic so far, so I'm expecting more of that chaotic energy going into this next fight. But we'll have to see what kind of compositions these teams pick out. It's been a little bit all over the place.
Absolutely, this match, I believe calling this match all over the place would be a bit of an understatement, as we've seen some crazy stuff. We've seen whole team dips into the river of Rialto. We've seen Torbjorn. We've seen McNewby on the attack bastion Hollywood. Who knows what else we're gonna see?
Because I wonder if they're gonna stick with it. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, we're gonna have another map after this, no matter what happens, no matter if the Storybook villains win or lose. So we're gonna have at least 2 more rounds of meming.
That may be more than I can handle, to be honest. These games are wild. So it looks like they are staying on the bastion. We have a Symmetra, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a high ground teleport. It's going to be interesting to see how SBV can react to it, because you have to be fast. There's no time to think. You have to decide where you're going and go.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a matter of how long it takes for them to spot out the bastion, because it's not really a common thing you'd usually see. But here we go with the bastion, and with the teleporter, we'll have to see what it does and where it's going to be going. They're going all the way around here, and are they going to teleport up to they're teleporting all the way up to the high ground, but Chino is already dead, and that is not good. There goes McNewby as well, and they're just getting shot at from upstairs, from all the way on the low ground, and that is proof that low ground does not always win you the game. It's only an advantage, not an insta win.
High ground, yeah. That was a good idea with the rollout, but it's tough once they see the bastion. You kind of got to make your move. You've shown your cards. I would say it's a little bit of a long rotation for having shown the bastion.
Absolutely, the switch coming in on McNewby going on to the Widowmaker and the Wrecking Ball from Hyper Knight, which was interesting on the. Here comes the shadow from Cobalt. Going to come in, not going to find much. Echo Force will find the pick onto Hyper Knight, and here comes the window. Going to so much more damage going to come out from the members of the Storybook villains, and it's just going to be a fight, just another fight win for them. And the members of Barbecue Dad are just kind of staying in this choke a little longer than they may need, I think.
The ball pick is okay here, but he really does have to find a way to get onto those squishies in the back line. If the peel's there, it's going to be hard to execute on any dice without anybody to follow up with him. We have Widow Hanzo. There's no Tracer to go in and clean up those kills. So it's kind of distraction, solo kills are all the options for Hyper Knight here.
Absolutely, and now McNewby going to take some damage and actually going to get taken down. Kirby Bro very far into the back lines, and they're going to actually find another pick on to fight before eventually going down. And again, another fight lost for Barbecue Dad.
This isn't. Oh, I take it back. I was gonna say this wasn't the worst for it wasn't worst for barbecue, but brutal alone getting that pick there means that they're going to have to wait. They've been staggered. Before that pick, they could have sped to point with a little bit of an advantage, but you got to get your whole team there. There's a little bit of
Absolutely.
there's a lot of ults building up, especially on the side of SBV. So we're gonna have to see. It's gonna be ults winning this next fight.
Absolutely, it's ult in the usage thereof. Echoforce going to drop low, and here comes the Graviton. Fight going to use the Transcendence. The Shadow's actually going to get stunned out. So many ultimates, I can't even say, but Kirby Bro's going to get a double kill, a triple kill with the Blade, and Kirby Bro will mop up the members of Barbecue Dad. Storybook villains might have had a little bit of a slip up on map 1, but they're not playing around on this map.
Yeah, that was a lot of ultimates. Both teams using 5, actually, it looks like. We see Mines versus Shatter. Mines are strong. And the fight's coming out on the point.
And here they come. Mine's coming out. We'll see if they can get anything because Shatter's coming out. It's gonna get McNoobie. There comes the Immortality Field just to block it out. Still, the Mine's on the point, going to deny a lot of space to the members of the Storybook villains. They're actually going to get the fight here, and somehow, some way, by some miracle, Barbecue Dad will capture the first point in overtime.
That was a good engage. The mines on point really limit SBV's ability to rotate to where they want to be. Very fantastic minefield coming up from Hyper Knight, and then the quick follow-up from Winston was really what gave it to them in this fight. As far as ults go, we're only seeing a window on the side of SPV, and nothing quite coming up for Barbecue Dads.
Absolutely, Clutch Caliber actually going to get Kirby Bro, and that's a good first pick to keep this momentum going for the Barbecue Dad. Audacity on the Tracer, just trying to get some peppered in damage. No, whoa, here comes Hyper Knight's Mines. Could be interesting. Clutch Caliber is actually going to fall on this Winston, and a interesting engage, but the point is still moving, but the Bob is going to come in, try and stall out point. Doesn't look like it will though, but Cobalt will on the Reinhardt. Brutal and Cobalt both going to find those takes on the supports, and that will end that fight for Barbecue Dad.
Oh, I really like to see the high ground control that Barbecue Dads was getting into that push there. Unfortunately, it did not pay off for them. Their tanks may have gone a little bit too deep, almost to the end of second point, when they really needed to control the high ground close and keep their team safe. Barbecue Chicken, on the other hand, does have a few ults coming up. Primal Rage, High Noon, and a Window, so it is in their favor, but they have to contest with that Genji Blade.
Absolutely, here comes that Clutch Caliber Primal Rage. McDoobie will find Brutal One already. Here comes the High Noon. No, won't find anything, but the picks are all going the way of Barbecue Dad. But it looks like no ult's going to be coming out from Storybook villains, and that'll give them a large advantage going into this next fight.
Yeah, the ults are king here. If they just need to clean up before they manage to push the card in, install the card, and then it'll leave Barbecue scrambling to touch that payload.
Absolutely, Graviton gonna come in, but McNoobie will find Echo Force already. Here comes the Shatter, here comes the Blade, and here comes the beat from the Wisp. Kirby will find 2 with the Blade already, and that'll clear it off, but a lot of ults used. 4, I believe, and Audacity will still find a pick on a Brutal One.
With the ball ready to contest.
Absolutely, Hyper Knight going to slam onto the point, but Echo Force just has this window up on top, and there's no one there to contest him. Still throwing the mines, but the mines can't contest, and the overtime will tick away, and a good push for Barbecue Dad, but Storybook villains, they know what they need to do.
It was a good show. It looks like they're putting it out there on the table here, but SBV has had a lot of clean play, good all usage, and good thinking about what they need to do to minimize the amount that Barbecue Dads can push that payload. It's going to be a tough defense, but that's what I said in Rialto, and Barbecue Dads pulled the victory out of that anyways.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're going to have to see what compositions they run with this point. Again, we're maybe seeing the Bastion. No, Widowmaker. I think it's going to be Brawly, and he switches back. I'm going to wait a minute and see what they roll up to point with before making any more predictions, but we'll have to see. So it is looking Brawl versus Spam in this case. We have SBV with the Zarya Rhyme, the Lucio for speed, and got your Soldier and Genji for the damage. So they're going to be looking to get a fast engage here, whereas Barbecue Chicken with their Bastion, Torb, they're going to be looking to extend that fight and use their shields, use their spam damage to whittle SBV down as they try to approach this point.
Absolutely, and you do want to see they're holding up in Skyscape. They're holding right up in Tower again, aren't they? Okay, come on. Barbecue Dad, come on. You guys had this exact same thing happen last time, and it didn't work last time. And an interesting rotation is going to come out from the members of the Storybook Villains, as I think they're trying to push to that small little platform that's going to rise up, get them right into melee range with the members of Barbecue Dad, but they've just never really seen this before. I mean, I've never really seen this before. The entire team holding up on this small 1 meter by 2 meter platform. Echo Force is actually going to find Clutch Caliber though, and that is where this starts to fall apart as Kirby will find Fight, Hyper Knight and Audacity will fall as well, and quickly this point A is going towards the members of Storybook Villains.
And that's how to play against that strategy. If they're running a Bastion, if you can get underneath them, line of sight them, you just want to close that distance. So the rollout behind point to get close was exactly what I wanted to see from SBV. You get closer to the Bastion, you force weird angles, and you just get some pressure on point.
That was an odd play from McNewbie, going a little bit too aggressive there, going right off the edge of the high ground, and just no one there to support him. And he's going to be suffering while his team is going to be dealing with a Genji Blade. Fight will be the first to find out, and Kaino will see it as well. I think that was during a Valkyrie, which, if true, would be absolutely disgusting from Turbico.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Popping valuable ults like that when the fight maybe isn't that winnable isn't necessarily the best decision here. Neither is using
valuable ults.
Bastion ult and spawn.
Absolutely, that is the thing that's happening, and here comes the Shadow from Cobalt on the flank, going to get a double and going to just shut down any defenses that Barbecue Dad might have. Audacity is trying to stall out this point, just trying to keep him from making any more progress, and this has been a pretty interesting match so far, and Hollywood has not disappointed. Here comes the window from Fight. Not many people there though, but the victory box is so close for a Storybook Villains. Clutch Caliber is actually going to eat the Graviton Surge from a Dichopath. Brutal One is going to get a triple kill on this soldier, and that will seal off this map as Storybook Villains will go up 2-1. They're on match point.
Indeed. It was a good fight, but you just see the ultimates in favor of SBV, the map control in favor of SBV, and it's really hard to fight and to touch that point again. It was a good fight, but the ult management and a little bit more of the picks were going in favor of SBV.
Absolutely. I mean, and just look at that blade from just look at that Genji blade was very played a very good Genji throughout this map, and 51% kill participation is very, very solid. And now we're getting into match point for Storybook Villains. it is going to be Barbecue Dad's map of choice. So I'll be interested to see what map they have in store for us. It's their choice.
Do we know what kind of map type we're gonna get for last assault? Okay, so we're gonna look at that 2 capture point, which is going to be capture point is somewhat interesting because it's the exact opposite of King of the Hill. In King of the Hill, you fight for those engages and you look for those clean engages onto the enemy. It's almost like halfway between a death match and Overwatch, very fast paced. Whereas on Assault or 2CP, you're going to be looking at who can find the smart way to engage the enemy team. There's longer sight lines, the defense is in place, and this is a perfect example of it on Anubis here. There's a lot of ways that the defenders can set up, and then it presents some interesting choices for the attackers, and a lot of ways that they can punish that approach on 2CP. So we'll have to see what both of these teams come up with on defense and how they react to it on attack.
Absolutely. As we look in at this Temple of Anubis, this is where Barbecue Dad needs to make their last stand. Or if we're right, if they're just memeing, this is where they need to make their last and their best meme.
This is where the spicy memes would have to come out. Yeah, on Anubis, there's definitely some Bastion strats that you can kind of run, but they're not generally the strongest, as the sightlines and the high grounds don't really support the longest angles of attack. I wouldn't be surprised to see some dive on attack that can be popular here, or some just straight up brawl, spammy, or spammy Junkrat compositions. There's a lot of ways that both teams can approach this point, and it's going to be difficult to capture those points on Anubis, as we've all experienced.
Absolutely. 2CP is notorious for being very hard to attack point B and pretty tough to defend point A. So we'll see if coming out on the defense, Storybook villains, if they're able to hold point A, that could be a good sign of things to come for them as we get in.
Yep, and it looks like we're ready to go here. And we have Barbecue Dads on attack. So you're right. It's gonna if SBV manages to hold that first point, then you're only left with a draw, right? It can move on to the next round, but it's really exceedingly difficult to not let them even get a tick. From that point, you don't want to be playing from behind like that.
Please don't bring up even the idea of a draw. I don't know if my body can handle this concentration of memes for many more rounds before I just will explode into like a dank supernova.
I'm just sitting here in half these fights not understanding what the goal is, what's happening, and what's going to happen. So I'm with you on that one.
Beyond your understanding.
They're just 900 IQ. I just cannot follow along.
Yep. All right, as we get into Temple of Anubis on this very interesting match. Okay. Honestly, just reading the chat in this match has been very interesting. Been some very interesting chat entries, and I feel like I'm just kind of broken from this entire match. I can't really form thoughts or accurate words about how this match has affected me, but it definitely has.
I may need counseling after this. Yeah, maybe they're playing for stream. We're gonna have looks like Brawl on the defense versus some dive with a possible nano blade coming out from Barbecue Dads. We'll have to see who can farm those ults and who can get that early combo going.
Absolutely. Brutal One is actually playing a very interesting strat here, playing on the flanking Widowmaker on completely away from the rest of their team, going to go for a grapple shot. Are they just playing a Widowmaker 1v1?
They are just playing a Widowmaker 1v1.
Absolutely. That's the thing that's happening here. Meanwhile, in the main fight, Cobalt is going to get that pick on the Clutch Caliber, getting DMAX very quickly. That's the thing with Temple of Anubis, is it has these really tight choke points, but Cobalt going to be on the receiving end, going to charge in, and again, just McNewbie, Brutal One, having a good time. Brutal One going to get another kill on McNewbie.
Yeah, it's when you're playing the dive into this brawl, I really don't like to see them going in through left side. It is too tight for dive to work. You cannot get that isolation on a target and burst them down. You're just fighting into the Reinhardt. Winston does not want to be in Reinhardt's face. It is that simple.
Absolutely. Here comes fight onto the dive, trying to get onto Echo Force, but not very coordinated. Brutal One finding another pick onto McNewbie, and they're just having a good time. I'm kind of going to ignore the Widowmaker 1v1 that's happening in the same lobby. Zyzelia is going to get nanoed a little bit before the blade can come out, going to get shattered and demolished. That's a good play from Cobalt, even just using that one ult to get two. Fight's going to use the Primal, going to get grabbed and shot down.
Yeah, we're not seeing a very clean dive out of Barbecue Deads. I think more attention is going on in the Widowmaker duel in the background than any thought going on to how they're going to approach this dive. I mean, who on their team are they going to dive in the first place here? You basically have the Widowmaker, but it seems like they have a gentleman's agreement in the back not to interfere with that. I'd like to see some swaps from Barbecue Chicken if they're interested in pushing this point.
Absolutely. Echo Force is going to find an early pick, and that's just not going to let anything really happen. I mean, you have that sort of... You can't go in with a... You can't go in when you don't have this... when you don't have all your people. The point is going to start being captured by Hyper Knight on the Moira, naturally. But they're just going to get shut down.
Not a lot you can do as Moira there. I like the fade onto point. It kind of forces them to deal with you so you can reset quickly. We're going to see a Diva Bomb and beat on the side of Barbecue with a window and Shatter on the side of SBD. We can get a good bomb here. Maybe they can cap first point.
Brutal One in spawn, naturally. Using the ult in spawn, naturally. Echo Force is going to fall, so this could be an opportunity for the attackers, as Kaino will find the pick on to Dichopath, and the Wisp will fall as well. Brutal One is going to have the pick onto the Zelia, but Brutal One will fall as well, and the point somehow around the Widowmaker 1v1, around the memes, will get captured.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how they push the second up point, and the big question, will the 1v1 continue? We're still seeing dive, and the Diva Bomb comes out on a point.
Absolutely, not gonna find anything, but Brutal One asking if him and Nubia is still on, and yeah, sure is the answer. So we will have more Widowmaker 1v1 inside this Owlet tournament game. It's like a wonderful Russian nesting doll. You have one tournament game, but you have a whole nother tournament game inside of it. It's magical.
The classic Matryoshka Overwatch. Not sure what else to say about this fight. It's scrambly, it's chaotic, and there was a bug on Dichopath, it looks like.
Absolutely. I mean, isn't it just a microcosm of this entire match, really, of just a complete and total confusing mess? What is happening? Here comes the blade from Zyzelia. There comes the Graviton as well. Clutch Caliber is going to get a pick onto Kirby Bro, which is a promising opening. McNubia find Brutal One. Kind of find Cobalt. And what is happening? I'm confused, and I don't know what's happening. Wisp will find Zyzelia, but Daikapath will fall. And now it seems like a switch has been flipped, and the memes have just stopped entirely. And now the members of Barbecue Dads are playing for keeps. They're playing for pink slips here. Fight will find Kirby Bro, but Fight will eventually fall, and the fight will end.
It was almost like a Cold War situation. Nobody was fighting, and then escalations just kind of snowballed until the full-on breakdown of inter-team relations that occurred on that point B. Looks like the stagger or the respawns are what actually gave it to SBB there.
Absolutely. What an incredibly interesting geopolitical metaphor inside this video game of Overwatch. Indeed. As the dive comes in as the I really think that the jetpack monkey is representative of the United States military force as we get into this next fight, and Brutal One, Cobalt, and Kirby will both find some picks. Zyzelia going to try their best to make it more even, but it might not be enough. Even the mines from Clutch Caliber might help. They're going to take down Cobalt, and just the Diva on the point trying to stall it out. They could get the tick. Tech Force is going to just put their toes on the point to stall it out. Here comes the blade from Zyzelia, going to get that, going to get the Immortality Field, but it won't be enough as the mines will come in, takedown fight, and well, this has been an interesting sequence of events as this fight probably drying out here. A few more seconds left. Will anyone even be able to touch the point? No, they will not. 1 point for Barbecue Dads, and now Storybook villains know what they need to do.
So I think they didn't even get a tick on second. Yeah, so no tick on second. So it's gonna be probably quite easy for SBV to push in and get some amount on second point. Interesting to see if the Widow 1v1 will continue or if they'll be looking for some more team-oriented Overwatch play. I just want to go back to you calling it a sequence of events. I think that's maybe a strong word to describe what's happening. Sequence implies order of operations or things happening with some cohesion, and I'm not sure that that is what is occurring in this game. It is beyond chaos.
Sounds right for that description of it is chaos, and it sure has been. But we may be in the final round of chaos unless Barbecue Dads can make like Toto's #2 single to hold the line.
A draw would get them into the next game here too, but
please don't.
I think they're gonna commit pretty hard with them pushing up to the spawn door to defend this point.
They're not. They are. They are. What is this? Cobalt is actually going to fall, and I refuse to believe that this is actually somewhat working. Oh,
Close hold gets them 100% of the time, 60% of the time. At least in the first fight.
60% of the time, that might be an overestimate. And they actually pulled back to a sensible hold here.
It's a smart decision. Get the meme hold, then back up the point. We see the flank Widowmaker coming out all the way behind.
I mean, that's just the Widow 1v1.
That is true.
Honestly, Jumpy, you should be used to this by now.
That's true. I got excited and I thought I saw some team play, and unfortunately, no, it was the Widowmaker 1v1. So they're rolling through the building here, and it's some brawl versus brawl.
Absolutely, but Zyzelia has this Riptire already, has charged it up. Here it comes! Coming in behind them. We'll see if they can take down the Immortality Field, and they will, and it'll get Echo Force. And Barbecue Dads holding.
Holding indeed. This is a good composition for holding that right side. Like I said in the beginning, with that Orisa Brine, it really performed exceedingly well in those really tight corridors. So they may want to go main with their Lucio and just speed to point on the side of SPV and just get a foothold on that point.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what this comp is built for, but Brutal One going to follow to McNewbie. I just saw the kill feed and went, ah, yes, of course, it must be. Kirby was actually going to get taken down early with that blade, going to find the bunker, going to find the immortality field, but not going to find any people with it. Wisp will fall, as well as Zyzelia will fight it from Cobalt's cold shoulder, but that'll just be it.
This is a dangerous position for Barbecue Dads to be in. Their spawn's coming back, but they're playing very forward. They're extending this fight and maybe getting a pick, but it is risky.
Absolutely. Brutal One just going to jump past, say, excuse me, I have a 1v1 to go take part in. And that's kind of just been happening in the background. I haven't been talking about it. If you want to see some Widow 1v1s, there is a VOD probably around of the Widowmaker 1v1 tournament. But as I say that, there come the picks. Kirby Bro and Cobalt both finding some picks there, and a pretty clean fight for Storybook villains.
And now Barbecue Dads, they have to hold on this point, and they have 4 minutes. They have none of that, none of the ability to give up ticks in time to respawn. They have to hold the line.
That they do. Poor Brutal One. Here comes the Riptire, not going to get anything. Now coming in. Here comes the Blade, going to get Silesia, and going to get Excalibur. And this might be it. Kirby might be done with the memes, and they are. That's will be Storybook villains moving on in one of the most confusing matches I have ever seen in my casting career.
Do I smell burnt toast? No, that's just this Overwatch game is making me have a stroke. I don't know what else to say about that. The Widow 1v1 was a unique meta that I have not seen before, and it may have I don't even know if it was favoring one or more teams getting that Widowmaker out. At the beginning, we saw lots of picks from Brutal, and then when the round switched, it was favored for McNewbie instead. As far as that other game went, it was, to be honest, very chaotic for any sort of reasonable analysis. So we're just gonna have to let the gods decide on that one.
All right, so bracket update. We have some important announcements for the bracket. Of course, we know the Storybook villains take it over Barbecue Dad, moving on to semifinals versus Blues Clues Bandits, or Monarchy. Whoever wins that, we don't know that yet, but between Meowegian and SpongeBob MNC, well, you can already see who's going to go facing off against the Council of Anime Girls, the #1 seed. It'll be it'll be an interesting it'll be a very interesting sort of it's going to be very interesting as we get deeper into the playoffs of this season 3.9. But regardless, this has been an interesting game, and personally, I'm interested to see a player's perspective. What about you, Jumpy?
I sure am. The question is, who do you want to pull into this interview? You got any ideas?
I feel like I want to pull Brutal One in just to talk about that Widow 1v1, because we didn't get a lot of time to talk about it, but I feel it's such an important part of the game.
That is true. Yeah, do we want to pull in Brutal and McNewby. Yeah, why don't we take a short break, maybe 5 minutes? Does that sound good? How about a 2 minute break? I need a 2 minute break.
We're going to take a few minute break and we will be right back with what is sure to be an interview as crazy, if not more crazy than the game that we just watched. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So we are finally finished with what was definitely the most interesting match I have seen in a while. And the members of Storybook Villains have emerged victorious. And we are here with one of them. We're here with Echo Force. How are you doing, Echo Force?
I'm doing pretty good. Just kind of vibing out.
Fantastic. I just have a couple questions for you. How did you feel coming into this match? You feeling confident, excited? What was the vibe for your team?
Honestly, I was stressed because I was like slamming some homework before.
Oh no.
But we were confident, you know. We just kind of do our thing, and the comp that we play got a lot stronger because of the patch. So we're just having some fun.
That's fantastic. And how did your team prepare? Not necessarily just for this game, but for playoffs this season. What did you guys do?
I added them in the server, in the Storybook server at 6 p.m. my time, so 7 p.m. Eastern,
Mhm.
and said, "Yo, nerds, we have a game." And then we showed up in the VC and played the game.
Fantastic. Just throwing what sticks to the wall, hey?
hmm
Um,
It's
do you have
pretty
any? Sir, go ahead.
So it's pretty obvious to say that this was probably not what you were expecting. I don't think it was what any of us were expecting from this game. What sort of mental adjustments did you have to make sort of mid-game to how Barbecue Dads was playing?
Um, I mean, we kind of just expected it to be a big meme. But for me, I was just kind of playing Kovacs on the BAP just to practice my aim a little bit, get ready for OD. Um, so like once we were kind of just started memeing, I just started playing the Kovacs.
Right? That it was definitely a meme. So looking forward to next week. Um, would you looking to Blue's Clues Bandits and Monarchy, the game that's currently going on right now? What are you thinking for these two teams, and how will you prepare for either of these teams?
Um, I mean, we've beaten both of them before. Um, I'll do the same kind of thing. I'll at the guys before the game, and then we just kind of show up and do our thing.
Mm, interesting. So, not too nervous. It seems like, but
Not at all.
I guess if you guys have had a successful track record and you're coming in confident, that's good too. No need to stress, I guess.
Just a
Um,
video game, man. Just having fun.
exactly. Do you have any more questions, Kalmar?
I do not. Now let's see who the Storybook Villains are going to be facing off with in the semifinals, as we are going to be going to raid Owlet right now, where we will see the conclusion of Blue's Clues Bandits versus Monarchy.